Hello and welcome to our Sports Talk. My name is Zach. We've officially made it through week 5 of the UFL season, meaning we are officially on the back half of the UFL regular season. In week 5, I went 2-2 with my predictions, giving me an overall record of 11-9 on the season. That's giving me some picks for week 6. Week 6 of the UFL season kicks off this Thursday, April 30th at 8 p.m. Eastern on FS1. You can watch the St. Louis Battlehawks, who are 3-2, taking on the Louisville Kings, who are 2-3. St. Louis coming off of a win over the Orlando Storm, giving Orlando their first loss of the season. Louisville coming off of a very dominant victory over the Dallas Renegades, giving them actually back-to-back wins. For St. Louis, they got off to a very hot start against Orlando. They tried to, pull back late in the game. St. Louis was able to pull away. For Louisville, like I talked about, they had a very dominant victory. They intercepted Austin Reed 4 times. They finally got their run game going, as both Ian Wheeler and Robinson averaged just under 5 yards per carry. Wheeler wound up with 4 rushing touchdowns. Chandler Rogers got his first start of the season, played pretty well. And their defense set them up huge. They got 27 points off of turnovers. This is a game that I think will be very close, and it's actually very tough for me to make a pick, because I think this game could go either way. But I am going to pick the St. Louis Battlehawks to get the victory here. They are a team that defensively, I think, will play very well against this Louisville Kings offense. I think, now that there is some, more game film on Chandler Rogers, this defense can pressure him. I know, this run game and the offensive line played very well this past week against Dallas. I think that this defensive front for St. Louis is better than Dallas. I think they will, cause the run game to struggle a little bit more once again. And then offensively for St. Louis, I think their offense is very explosive with Hakeem Butler at receiver, who honestly a big play waiting to happen really at any moment. Jarvion Howard has been having some big runs the past few weeks. Their only thing that I think could be a detriment to them is Harrison Frost does turn the ball over. He's had at least one interception. He may have had multiple interceptions in every single game that he's played in, but they have found ways to win and found ways to get explosive plays. I think that will continue this week, and I'm going to go with St. Louis to get the victory over Louisville. Your next game is on Friday, May 1st at 8 p.m. on Fox. You have the Houston Gamblers, who are 2-3, taking on the Columbus Aviators, who are 1-4. So these two teams are actually coming off of just playing each other in week 5. And in that game, Houston was able to get a very close victory. It was a very competitive game. In that game, Nolan Henderson played pretty well. They were able to get their run game going. Their defense was able to get late in the game a key takeaway, as Jalen McClendon had a very costly fumble that wound up really costing them the game. For Columbus, they got some things going, but just they missed, I believe, 2 extra points. They missed a field goal, so they were leaving points on the board. As I mentioned, Jalen McClendon had that fumble right at the end that they lost. So it was a very close game, but ultimately Houston was able to pull out the victory primarily due to Columbus's mistakes. This is another one that I think will be a very close game. But my pick for this game is going to be the Columbus Aviators. One, it helps that they are going to be the home team this week. These two teams just played each other. Columbus should hopefully learn from their mistakes, try to figure out, hang on to the football better. Don't, hopefully can, not miss extra points, not, make such costly mistakes. I think that hopefully Columbus should be able to get their run game going. Their run game kind of struggled a little bit against Houston this past week, but I think they should be able to get it going. I have a lot of faith in their trio of running backs to really get it going. I do still have faith in McClendon as a very talented quarterback. He just needs to, make smarter decisions with the football. But ultimately, I do think that Columbus gets the victory over Houston in this game. Your next game this weekend of UFL action is Saturday, March 2nd at 12 p.m. Eastern on ABC. The Dallas Renegades, who are 3-2, take on the DC Defenders, who are 4-1. Dallas coming off of that devastating loss to Louisville, where they had, Austin Reed threw 4 interceptions. Their offense was really struggling for most of the game. They couldn't, kept giving Louisville great field position, and we were really struggling throughout that game. DC coming off of a win over the Birmingham Stallions, in which their offense was really firing on all cylinders. They scored, I believe, 45 points. Jordan Tiamu had 4 touchdowns. He did well running the ball. Their offense was just really clicking. Their defense played pretty well against Birmingham as well, forcing a couple of turnovers. Now, this is a game that, a few weeks ago looked like, the 2 best teams in the league, is now looking, like the Dallas team has some weaknesses that maybe DC can take advantage of. DC has had a very good defense this year. Dallas is on a downward spiral. They're on a struggle. They've lost their past 2 games in a row. My pick for this game is going to be the DC Defenders. I really think that I like their defense to be able to pressure Austin Reed, much like Louisville's defense did. Maybe get some takeaways. Put their high-powered offense in some good positions. And even if their defense struggles, I trust DC's offense to go toe-to-toe with anybody in this league, including Dallas. So even if, it's not a very big defensive game, I think if this game turns into a shootout, I think DC, with Jordan Tiamu and all their, big, powerful offensive weapons, but their offensive weapons, their high-powered offense, I think if the game does come down to a shootout, can outscored Dallas, and I think, if it's a defensive slugfest, I think their defense is better than Dallas's. I think their defense could be able to pressure Austin Reed, could be able to slow down this struggling run offense of Dallas. So I just think all around, whatever kind of game it tries to turn into, I think DC has the advantage. So I do think the DC Defenders get the victory here. And your final game of the weekend for Week 6 is Sunday, May 4th at 4 p.m. Eastern on Fox, as the Birmingham Stallions, who are 1-4, take on the Orlando Storm, who are 4-1. Birmingham coming off of that loss to the DC Defenders. A game in which Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who had earlier that week just been traded actually from Orlando to DC, actually played very well. He had a little over 300 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 2 interceptions, which kind of cost him. He was their leading rusher. If there's anywhere their offense really struggled against DC, it was with the turnovers and then in the running game. And then for Orlando, coming off of their loss to St. Louis, they kind of showed that their offense can be slowed down. St. Louis did a good job of slowing down their offense, and you can score on Orlando's defense. This is a game that I actually think that the Birmingham Stallions will win. It is what I would consider a revenge game for Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I think that he's going to go out and continue. He's got another week of preparation under his belt, another week of experience in this offense. Just go out to continue to show his athleticism, his talent, show that, maybe this Orlando team should have been starting him to start the season instead of Jack Plummer. I think this defense, because these 2 teams just played a couple weeks ago, and the major struggle for St. Louis was their offense not putting up any points. Their defense held Orlando to only 16 points. So it's not like Orlando really blew them out in a shutout victory. Orlando's offense struggled a little bit against Birmingham. I think that or will happen again. But this time, I think with Dorian Thompson-Robinson and especially the weapons at receiver with Jadon Mickens, Dawood Davis, and Deion Kane all out there, I think that this Birmingham offense should be able to put up points and should be able to score pretty effectively against this Orlando defense. So I do think the Birmingham Stallions get the victory over the Orlando Storm, kind of get not just revenge for DTR for him getting traded out of Orlando and not being the starter to start the season, but kind of revenge for a couple weeks ago when they got shut out at home. So I do think that Birmingham can get the victory here. Let me know, as always, let me know in the comments who you guys think will win, who you guys have winning this week. Maybe some of your favorite moments from week 5, some surprises that have happened maybe over the past couple weeks. I've been very surprised by how Dallas has kind of been on a downward slump the past couple weeks. But let me know in the comments your thoughts on just the UFL. If you want to just talk in the comments about the UFL season and how it's been going. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe. Until next time.